Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode, what is it, 29 today, or 30, of my my daily commitment to do a mental health walk and talk for June. And we're coming towards the end of this month, and again, it's a late one tonight because it's been a very busy day, but I'm staying committed. The dogs needed a late walk because they've just been with my dad today. They haven't gone far. But first off, I want to say a big thank you to the people that have reached out to me and said, Tregs, I've been going through a tough time this month and I've just been watching all your videos on the walk, and thank you. Will you keep it going? Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping my YouTube going with daily content, but I'm going to need to think about what I'm going to do with this. It has, I've got no attachment to it, but it has, my subscribers have gone up, and yeah, get some good interaction on YouTube, and I enjoy it. I'm not attached to the outcome. But I am thinking about bringing a Healthy Happy Dad podcast out. I've done podcasts in the past. My original podcast used to get massive traction. My problem is I can start something and then stop doing it. So I wanted to prove myself that I could do this to myself. I could do this month for you, and then I'm gonna maybe look at something on top of this. But I'm definitely enjoying it. So let's get into tonight's topic. Yeah, first off, thanks to all the guys that have reached out and said it's really helped them. It's really helped me as well. June's been a challenging month. This year's been challenging, but I've accepted that now. I think when you can accept, right, these are just challenging times, and life is all about seasons. You know, the thing is about problems, and everything comes to pass, but you learn a lot when you're in a tough season. It's definitely been a tough hell of a tough season at the minute. But a lot of people asking me about my dad. My dad's the same, if not worse. The radiation has done him in. He's probably worse since the radiation. And he just said to me on the phone today when I rang him to check on him, he said, just got no energy, I've got nothing. It's just really flattened him out. And we just take it a day at a time. That's all we can do. There's that great Winston Churchill quote, isn't there? When in hell, keep going. I've had tough times over the years. I remember my cousin telling me that when I was having mental health issues in my mid to late 20s. And it is, you can only take one day at a time. And I was chatting to a few old clients today I reached out to, and they were asking after my dad. And they were saying, how are you doing? And I said, I'm training like a demon, and my nutrition and everything is really dialed in. Whatever happens, I'm getting in the shape of my life. Absolute shape of my life. A shape that I've wanted to get into my entire career, my entire life, really. And that's happening now. And I always knew it would happen. And the time is now. It's just years of experience, failing forward, learning on the job. And I always knew it was going to happen. But the time is now. It's happening now. There's no going back. I feel great. I'm the leanest I've ever been. It's not to impress you. It's just to show you that out of all this struggle, let's pick up the old poo bag there, that you can, you can really find out about yourself. I really believe we're all capable of so much more. And I think the latest one, there's multiple versions of us that exist in the future. What I mean by that, well, if you're watching this now and you want to lose weight and get healthier, there is a healthier, lighter version of you that exists in the future. How do you become that person? Well, I've just said it in that. You have to become that. You have to decide who you want to become, and then you prove it to yourself with small daily actions and wins, okay? So there's a healthier version of you. A healthier, lighter, fitter, stronger, more confident version of you in the future. There's also a less confident, fatter, sicker, not as happy version of you in the future. And that could be down to poor choices. Letting work, life, all that take over a focus on your health. That can happen. That can happen. The thing is both versions exist, but you get to decide which version you want to become. There's a wealthier version of you in the future based on maybe your current spending habits, or how you progress in a career based on how you operate daily, or maybe you become wealthier because you learn about money and you start to invest and blah blah blah. There's versions of you that exist. There's a homeless version of you, somebody that makes a shitload of bad financial decisions, pisses off their family, and ends up losing their home. Now, hopefully, you wouldn't tap into that, right? But what I'm saying is, there's multiple versions of us that exist in the future. Now, obviously, bad things can happen in life, and we can get very unwell out of nowhere, and that's a different circumstance. But I'm talking about in general. There are multiple versions of you based on your decisions, not bad luck or anything like that. Based on your decisions, right? And that's what I've tried to tap in. Is to the version of me I've always thought I could become this year. That's what I'm really tapping into. And listen, mate, it's heavy right now. It really is heavy. Me and Bex have these conversations every day. She's going through it. She's had the issues with her eye. I said I wouldn't change it. Obviously, I don't want my dad to have cancer, but he's got cancer. But I'm learning a lot about myself, and honestly, I've learned so much, and I don't want to have a day where I kind of like, oh, fuck it, I'm in the pub. As much as I love a pint and I love a drink and I love, let me hair down, I can't do that right now. It's just too much. But I'm using the strain as an opportunity to grow. And I think that when we can look at our problems as a bit of a privilege and go, okay, this is happening. We're all old enough and ugly enough to accept that life is unfair. We'll have challenges. What do we learn from this? How do we grow from this? Because I think that's the wonderful thing about life. You've got the opportunity to work on yourself, to develop yourself. And some people just go through life and never do that. Never develop themselves. And what do I mean by that? I mean, my mum handed me a book 20 years ago called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, Law of Attraction book, which changed my life. But it didn't initially, because I was an angry guy who had stopped being a nightclub promoter and was a self-employed courier for a couple of years, which for the first year I really enjoyed because no one bothered me. But for the second year, I was driving up and down the valleys getting angry because I was like, what's my calling? And all my friends are going, come on, Treg, you're better than this. There's more about you than this. There's nothing wrong driving the van, by the way. I loved it for the first year. But I knew I was being called for something more, and I was just getting really irritated. And my mum gave me this book. She gave me the audio CDs. And I remember putting it on in the van. I wasn't spiritual at all at the time. And it was all these chimes and all that. And I just took it out. I'm fucking not listening to that crap. And then 2 weeks later, I was still miserable, still unhappy. And I was like, right, I'm going to put this on. Let me fast forward past the chimes. And then I was like, just give me a practical buy-in. I don't want all this spiritual crap. I wasn't spiritual. And it was like, right, gratitude. Practice gratitude every morning. Practice appreciation. Like when you go and pay for something, rather than just hand over the money. So, oh, thank you, like, thank you. When you receive money, really bless it, thank you. But start the day every morning. And I was like, I can do that. And it was easy, but we were always told, oh, you need to be grateful. But we weren't told, I was never taught it in school, to think a different way. Like have a growth mindset. Think outside the box. I mean, I remember years ago going into my son's primary school and we're having a chat with the teachers and there was a thing on the wall about growth mindset. I was like, oh wow, I love that. And it was just talking, it was about positive thinking and just changing the way you say, I love that. We didn't have that at school. But that completely changed the trajectory of my life. I started practicing gratitude. I started practicing visualization. Not long after, I had the breakthrough to become a personal trainer when I was doing a run, and everything just sort of went from there. And it just changed everything. A personal development book, and this is a beautiful thing. As we go through life, all these challenges are an opportunity to develop ourselves and realize that there's a higher power at play. There's stuff which is happening which is totally out of our control. I mean, none of us know what's going to happen in the future, right? But sometimes you can look back in life and you can only connect, I read this the other day, you can only connect the dots looking back, right? And you realise everything's always been okay. You really have. You could have been in the worst time ever, but things are always okay because you're here now, you're watching this video. You've made it. Things always work out. Things always work out. They do. It's only when you look back, you connect those dots and go, oh, that was a tough time. But the interesting thing is once you come through that tough time, you never reflect, right? I never forget. There's a little story to finish up. In my mid to late 20s, when I first qualified as a personal trainer, I ended up getting this horrible bout of dizziness, like an inner ear problem. And it for just as I got into my career, for about 6 months I felt like I was on a ship. And let me tell you that it drove me insane. And then I got anxiety, which made it worse. In fact, anxiety could have probably caused it initially. And it was awful. I was just in a new career trying to get it off the ground, and it was hell. I wasn't sleeping. When I'd wake up, I'd be like, feel like I was on a ship. And I ended up going to see an ear, nose and throat specialist, neurologist, all these specialists like, nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with you. Then I found this website called Dizzy Times. And I was on this website and everyone was diagnosing me, and it was bad. Like, people were feeling, they were like, everyone was dizzy on there, right? And they were saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't be training. And blah, blah, blah. But through that site, which I became addicted to, and it was just all like, oh, you know, it could be bad, could be this, could be that, could be that. It was making it worse. I actually tracked down this expert. He was I forget what he was called, but actually he came to the University Hospital of Wales, and I got an appointment with him. And I was full of anxiety. I had this for like 6 months. Anyway, he basically diagnosed me with something called peripheral vestibular dysfunction. He was a top expert, right? I'd seen everyone. And he said, go away, do sports. He said, whatever makes you whatever makes you dizzy will make you better. And he was talking about the crystals in the ear, and he said, your anxiety's making it worse. He said, but go away, lift weights, run, play football. And he said, it'll sort itself. And within 3 weeks, it was gone. And guess what? I never went back to that website, dizzytimes.com. Why? Because I was better and I moved on. But it's only when I reflect and I was like, oh my God, I was so bad with my dizziness. I remember saying to my dad at the time, if somebody could take this dizziness away from me, I would support Liverpool. That's how bad it was. As a Man United fan, if somebody can take this dizziness away from me, I will support Liverpool for the rest of my life. That's how bad I was, right? But then when I got better, I forget about it. And it's only now when I reflect and I go, my gosh, yeah, that was tough. But I got through it. That's the thing about tough times. You get through it. There's that great quote, isn't there? Tough times don't last, tough people do. Tough times when my first son was born. And he almost died, and he was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and me and the boy's mum had to come home without him. You know, for 3 weeks. Imagine leaving the hospital, your firstborn son, you had to leave him in. All these times. But once you're through it, it's easy to not forget, but not reflect enough to go, oh, yeah, everything was all right in the end. And what will be, you know? What will be, will be. But whatever happens, there's a real opportunity to understand that you can't control everything, but what you can control is how you show up every day. I said to the guys on my call earlier, I've loved doing these walks with my dogs. Like, it's 9:45 now and I'm out walking the dogs. I've loved doing it. And I'm taking them in the morning. I've loved it. And as much as it's been bad seeing my dad suffer, just getting out with my dogs and going for a run with the youngest, and, you know, getting my van. And, you know, I said it's been a tough year, but I've got a van this year. Me and my son go off mountain biking every day, and, you know, he's getting really good. And there's so much to be grateful for. Whatever happens, we come through the other side. We come through a better person, leaner, stronger, fitter, mentally more resilient. And it's the same for everyone. You get to choose how you show up to the challenges. You can choose to become the best version of yourself. Have a great evening.